Squire of Hell. By Troy Maverick. Chapter 9. A home in Rello Hell. Would it be so far-fetched? I mean, I was a butcher, carving out bodies in the masses. Bloodshed was my middle name. It would seem just, for my acts of righteousness to be seen as sinful. It was a concept that I didn't think about until Lucille mentioned it. I didn't give her a comment, because honestly, I wasn't quite sure myself. So far from what I'd noticed, this realm was chaotic and dangerous, eerie and dark. It matched my lifestyle back home perfectly already. On the second floor, Lady Lucille made her final stop, in front of two tall standing doors lined with silver and gold. She pulled the lever down on the first one and invited Faye into her guest suite, her shimmering blue eyes captivated by how large and sinfully elegant it was.
"You mean all of this is for me?"
she whispered, with her folded hands over her chest as the bedroom continued to lure her into a trance.
"This is our special hallway for our special guests. And seeing as you are our Blood Squire's companion, you receive the special guest package as well. Everything you'll need has been laid out for you. You have a private bath, a sitting room, and a small but extensive library. I'm sure the alchemy and magic script may not be your preferred dose, but we can find other books to keep you preoccupied during your stay, if you'd like."
I flattened my eyes, looking over to our host whimsically. "That is very generous of you, Lady Lucille."
"Please, Knives, call me Lucy,"
she requested with a warm smile. I grinned. Lucy it is. But, while this woman is my companion, I cannot say she deserves all of this luxury. For you see, she's a real pain in my ass. Faye choked.
"I beg your pardon?"
She should be treated as a regular guest. I continued to tease her.
"Lady Lucille, I mean, Lucy." "Heh, I can call you Lucy too, right?" "Please, don't listen to this man. At home, he is but a nasty killer. He's a criminal in our delicate town of Ebonmere. So you must understand why I couldn't quickly appreciate his efforts, for they are wicked and cruel."
"Are we too wicked and cruel?"
Lucille asked Faye, leaving her stumped. I couldn't help but chuckle. Served her right for all of that mouth she was giving me earlier. "I am kidding, Lucy. Faye is fine to stay here."
"Are you sure?"
Faye scurried to my side, and poked her head over my shoulder.
"You owe me this."
She grunted through her teeth.
"I had saved you back there too, remember?"
I rolled my eyes at her. "Sure. Even though the 2 times I saved your hide cancelled out the generous mistake of a favor."
"Then how about you count me sparing your life as well, butcher?"
She seethed. "All right, only after you admit that you were all over me a few minutes ago." She gasped, taking 2 steps away from me. I turned to her, feeling brazen. "I suspect it was shameful, because you chose to ignore it. Or maybe your memory hasn't hit you yet. Either way, I want you to admit that Enchanted Stream had you flaunting feelings for a killer. And for the purest of the Belmauers, that's awfully sinful. Isn't it?" She went redder than a cherry, and I was enjoying every minute of it. If she wanted a cozy bedroom like that, she was going to have to work for it. It was a small task, but the biggest assignment for someone of her persona. For her to admit that she naturally had a thing for me was going to be tough, but in this, I was hoping she'd lay off of me a little. So she curled up her fists and gave me a sour regretful look, Lucy behind me trying to hold in her laughter.
"All right. I had made a complete and utter fool of myself, pawing over a serial killer. Are you happy now? Have I entertained you?"
She blurted. "Yeah, I'm entertained," I said with a greedy grin on me, and then she bolted right into her room, slamming the door behind her.
"You have quite a character tagging along with you, Knives,"
Lucy said. I turned to her. "You can say that again."
"It looks like the affection isn't one-sided."
I raised my brow at her. "What do you mean?"
"Well, it is clear she adores you, even though it's hard for her to admit it. You feel the same way for her, don't you?"
"I think you're misunderstanding something. I stumbled here trying to save her hide, and she has been unappreciative about it ever since. As far as feelings go, I'm keeping her off my radar. Not to mention, she's a real pain. The attitude on her is less than an acquired taste, leaving a bitter feeling in my mouth, if you catch my drift."
"I see. So as far as you're concerned, the both of you are under a mutual pseudo-hate for each other?"
That comment left me stumped. She giggled, lifting a finger along her chin.
"So be it. I find it adorable, really. Her tough armor will break in due time. And as for your reason for refusing to become intimate with her, I believe that is only temporary. In the meantime, I hope that you'll enjoy what the capital of lust has to offer. Our women can be quite persistent.
As experienced.
To them, you are our savior.
They don't know who I am.
Do you honestly believe that Nayla hasn't told the entire court? She's a big galloping gossip, you know.
Well, she did seem pretty excited about the crest on my hand. I should have expected her to spread the good word.
Please, brave and charming squire, make yourself at home. I will send for a seamstress to begin your wardrobe. She will collect your clothes for cleaning as well. We will reconvene again soon.
Next scene. Lucille left me to my bedroom, a similar taste in luxury and style as Faye's. My first goal was taking a hot steamy shower in a bathroom that was double the size of my old bedroom. There, I did a lot of mulling over, but my mind was made up. I was under a verbal contract, and I was determined to see it through. While the idea of monsters running amok in Rello Hell made me excited for a real challenge, I was also worried I may have been way over my head here. I needed to stack bodies to gain power, right? So taking down the first few wouldn't be easy. And there was no telling how difficult my enemies would be, and how dense. Regardless, I came out of that shower feeling brand new. I was finally out of those filthy clothes and in a towel around my waist, walking out of the bathroom to see I already had a visitor. She looked up to me with her measuring tape and notepad while shamelessly gawking at my dripping wet body. I couldn't stop staring myself. The demon girl was about Lucy's height, maybe shorter, sporting dragon features from her hands to her feet. She had lavender skin with dark dragon scales along her arms and her legs, which covered her sweet spots as well. She'd be naked without them, the girl with the pink eyes and the long crimson horns giving me a mischievous grin. I made an educated guess and figured she was a seamstress. My guest flung her red hair over her shoulder, giving me a cutesy look while her huge jugs bounced gleefully over her chest.
I'm sorry, darling.
She said in a lewd voice.
I let myself in after my knocks went unanswered.
The shower must have been running. I didn't hear a damn thing.
That's fine. My name is Rhea. Am I allowed to keep you company?
Sure. Just let me get into some clothes, and I'll be right back. You're here to get some measurements, right?
I am. But you don't need to get dressed. It will just take me a minute.
She had no problem approaching me, her curious eyes sizing me up and down hungrily.
When Nayla said you were a fine piece of eye candy, I thought she was exaggerating.
She cooed, her slender claws gliding in between my misty sculpted chest. Then she got real frisky with me, undoing the towel around my waist, and letting it skirt along my feet. Do I really have to be naked for this? I asked, as if I wasn't enjoying a sexy monster girl stripping me naked for her amusement.
Accurate results require complete nudity.
I gave her a side smirk. Such a brazen excuse to see me in my birthday suit.
You don't mind, do you?
She purred, her hand lingering between my legs, tempted.
After all, a body like yours should be worshipped, not hidden.
Rhea brushed along my sizable girth dangling between us with her body, the monster girl gradually pressing up on me. Until.
Wait, you're hurt.
She said, suddenly noticing the undressed gash on my arm from my first battle in Rello Hell. I looked down at it, raising my arm up slightly. Oh yeah. I got into a fight with a demon when I first got here. But, it's nothing serious.
Cuts here shouldn't be taken lightly. There's no telling what these demons have tucked up their sleeves, lining their talons and claws with God knows what.
Well, that was a scary thought, but luckily, Rhea was on it, quickly ducking into the bathroom and coming back with a medical kit.
Sewing clothes isn't the only thing I'm good at.
She winked. She placed the medical kit on the round sitting corner table, took my measurements quickly, and then allowed me to put on some slacks so she could clean and stitch me up properly. Inside the kit were treatments and vials that I'd never seen in my life. I was no expert caretaker, but it was obvious that there was some outworldly medicine in play. I didn't question it, because nothing was as bad as shitty needles. Needles, I'd always been afraid of them till this day. A blade to the gut I could manage, but taking pricks from needles on my skin was still something I was embarrassingly afraid of.
Do I sense a weakness from our blood squire?
She sang. I darted my eyes away from her, trying to keep my face from churning. It's not a weakness, it's a nuisance.
Well, I sure hope that you don't run into any demons with needle-bearing powers.
I chuckled, turning back to her. Teasing me already, I see. Right after we just met.
Knives Arleon, I don't think Lady Lucille truly expressed our utmost appreciation for what you are prepared to do for us. The gods and goddesses of our lands are relentless, chaotic, predatorial, and downright savages. They have no remorse and won't shed a tear for the volume of blood they spill. Do you understand, Knives? The extent to which you are prepared to go through?
Not entirely, no. But, I am willing to try my best. She gave me a sweet smile as she finished sewing me up.
Lucille told us that you have your own agenda here. Even so. It warms my heart to see a human blood squire protecting us demonic women of Rello Hell.
You girls are nothing compared to what I live through at home, I complimented. Also, it's not easy for me to turn away from someone in need.
The gods, they have warriors stationed at every corner. It is truly dangerous out there. While we demons have the ability to draw power from our spiritual energy, it is a different case for our gods. Each god has a different specialty, and by specialty I mean a unique ability that they draw from the power of sin. This makes their mana pool abundant. Pride has the ability to manipulate shadow constructs in the form of resurrected demons. Greed is a terrible menace to our people, who can absorb both kinetic and life force energy. Even though his life force absorption trait requires the target to be weakened, he has done very well for himself with it. Wrath has the power of explosive and heat powers. Envy can shapeshift into anyone she wants, while mimicking her target's powers. Gluttony is a behemoth with cosmic hunger and an invincible regenerative ability that is hard to bypass. And the more he eats, the stronger he gets. As for Sloth, she is the mistress of puppetry, with the ability to possess any living and breathing thing she crosses. Not only that, she has the ability to paralyze her victims.
Sounds like I have a lot more to worry about the more I learn about this place.
Our goddess Lust has the power to change any emotion into lustful ones. It doesn't always work, though.
I snorted. I could imagine.
We'd managed to give the other gods the perception that our capital Istibba had fallen, including Lady Lust's castle. The illusion of destruction during a recent battle allowed us to move the castle and some of our people, but we are afraid that solution won't last much longer. While Lucifer has been gone for a few years, our people have suffered from oppression and persecution way before then. Being hunted and killed. Even my family was slaughtered. I was the fortunate one, being able to run away from the bloodbath. I will never forget the last expression on my mother's face when one of Wrath's warriors cleaved right through her chest as she begged me to run away.
She was hurting, and I understood where Rhea was coming from. Our history wasn't too different, so I could sympathize with the pain she was feeling.
The great demon lord didn't respect us monster girls any. To him, we were the weakest sin, the weakest nation. And still are.
Well, that's why I'm here, right? To be your stronghold. The armor that you girls need. Your blade as well as your shield. She looked at me awestruck, her mouth left agape. I was confused by the reaction, Rhea frozen there staring at me. Was it something I'd said? Suddenly, she lunged at me, locking her lips with mine while she straddled her legs around my hips on the chair. She gave me a passionate kiss, my first one with a demoness. Rhea cradled my face lovingly, stuffing her wet long tongue inside my mouth while I held back a grunt into hers. This sexy lavender dragon girl was giving me a hard-on, my cock knocking between her legs the longer she sucked on my lips. She finally broke our kiss, her panting warm breath basking over my face.
Will you really protect me and my people, Knives of Earth? Will you fight for us?
I will.
For your generous services to our nation, I will never let you go unfulfilled. I want you to have me, fair warrior. My selfless guardian of Lithenia.
She ran her claws gently through my hair as she cradled my head between her enormous breasts. I wanted to take care of her, too. She was making it hard for me to resist, so I didn't fight it, figuring I deserved some time with my sexy dragon seamstress. I just had the roughest night of my life, and I was ready to indulge in my reward. Until a knock came at my door, followed by a questionable voice.